All right, what's up, y'all? Happy Friday. So, today's live training is honestly just a topic that has come up kind of a few times. And whenever something comes up a few times for me, I am like, what is this repetition trying to teach me? And so that is what I wanted to just kind of reflect upon. I was thinking about it a lot last night, just like going to bed. And I was like, I really want to talk about this topic. And that topic is a very interesting word, I would say. That is commitment. So, commitment is something that we often joke about, right? In relationships, we say, well, I have commitment issues. Or with picking a place to go to dinner, well, I have commitment issues. And we joke about it. But with our health and fitness, commitment is a really tough topic because a lot of us feel like we can't stay committed to our goals. And I have a different perspective on this. And I think that this perspective is more helpful. And I think that this perspective can actually help move you forward of why you can't stay committed, why you are struggling with this commitment thing. And I call this the commitment fallacy of how we are misinterpreting commitment in the first place and how that's holding us back. So, with that being said, why we can't stay committed really comes down to a lot of what's packed into what we're trying to stay committed to in the first place, and how do we actually reorient our goals to be more productive for our life right now. So, let me kind of get back into it. I was thinking how I came across this is I've had multiple conversations with a couple of women who mentioned, and we just ran a scholarship. So we gave away a scholarship, a full ride to our 16-week accelerator and to one woman. And then we had about the funds for 10 to 11. It's looking like we're still, honestly, still like working through all of the, at the time of recording this, we're still working through all the funding and getting it allocated to those 10 people. At least 10, and if we can do more, we can do more. And it's been amazing. I love doing something like that because it kind of pushes people who maybe think I can't be committed to like take a bet on themselves and to just try for something, even if they're not sure that they'll win. And it can be really, really empowering. So we did that. And through the process of talking to some of our scholarship applicants and the ones that won partials and things like that, I looked in the applications. There were a few women that I have talked to before that said, I really struggle with commitment. I'm afraid that I won't be able to commit. I'm afraid that I won't be able to follow through. And oftentimes when it comes to really rubber meets the road, it's time to make a decision. Should I join PCC or not? One of the biggest kind of hesitations that women have is, I'm afraid that I won't follow through. And it's not a mistrust in the program. They see all the social proof. They see, okay, like, hey, all these women that look just like me and have lives just as busy as mine are seeing results. So I know that this system, this process, these people are committed to me, but can I commit to myself? And can I show up the way that I want to show up for this program? And it's a very, very valid fear. And the self-doubt is, very justified considering the context of a lot of the women that I speak to, because their history with dieting is ridden with failure, essentially. Like, tried to diet, lost some weight, gained it back. Tried a diet, didn't work. Tried to diet, another diet, didn't work, right? That is their history. And so it is not surprising to me that someone would say, I feel like I struggle with commitment because I haven't been able to follow through on anything else before. So what makes you say that I can follow through on this? And that is where that all came from. Was I was just like, I struggle to hear that because I just know that it's not true. And I know that what you are perceiving as commitment is not necessarily what you're really even going to be asked to do. And so I looked up, I am a big definitions person. Whenever I am breaking down a word, I want to like check it with Webster's dictionary and be like, but what's the like official definition of this word? And it was interesting. There were kind of two main definitions for commitment. Number one was the state or quality of being dedicated to a cause, activity, etc. So just being dedicated, so showing back up time and time again. It does not imply success, which was interesting. We'll talk about that. But also, it was an engagement or obligation that restricts freedom of action. So, for example, I have a prior commitment. I can't make it. So we're restricted from freedom of action. And that was even more interesting because it implies restriction. It implies a level of commitment that we can't do other things. And I think that's where it really starts to break down. So here's what I have to say to you. If you are somebody who struggles with this word commitment to yourself, your health and fitness goals, and the thing that is holding you back is self-doubt in your ability to follow through for you, I want you to look back at what are the things that you have quote unquote committed to in the past, whether you were successful or unsuccessful. And there is evidence for both of these, right? So in the times that we were successful, we might look back and say, well, I did Weight Watchers, or I did this program, or I did that. And I was very successful, but I was so committed and I'm just not that person anymore. You know, I have kids now. I have a job now. I don't have 2 hours a day to dedicate to the kitchen and to the gym. So I can't be committed like that. Right? So those are our successes that we compare to, and we are just in a different space of life. And so we're like, it's unrealistic for me to commit again. Or the flip side is, I did this program, I did this thing, and they asked me to do so many things, or I had so many things on my checklist, so many habits, tasks, etc., that I needed to do, that it was too much and I couldn't follow through. And so I was not able to lose the weight. I was not able to check the boxes. Therefore, I am not capable of committing to anything similar in the future because I couldn't even do it in the first place with that other thing, right? So how could I expect myself to commit to something that is, a high tier, really high touch, customized service when I couldn't even do it for Weight Watchers or Noom or whatever, right? And so that's the second fallacy, is you struggled in the past and you'll struggle again. And the reality of both of those scenarios is that what most other programs, what most other diets will ask you to do is not realistic. It's not a realistic commitment for the long haul. And that's the difference between diets and programs, and I'll put them in one umbrella over here, diets and programs, and changing your lifestyle and your habits over here. Because diets and programs are by nature very prescriptive. So diets and programs are, here's what you need to eat, here's what you can't eat, here's your list of foods, here's your meal plan, here's your calorie goal, here's your macros, and program, here's your regimen, this many days per week, this many hours, this many minutes in the gym. This is exactly what you need to do. If you follow this, you will see results. That is the nature of diets and programs. And unfortunately, in this industry, it is very natural for us to default to thinking that when I talk to PCC, when I talk to Marissa, that I'm talking about another diet or program. And that's not the case. There is actually something different out there. So that's the first belief to kind of jump over, is that we are not another diet and program. We facilitate habit and lifestyle change. And so how I've best explained this to women in the past that has given the light bulb of like, oh, I actually see what you mean, because I have had trouble articulating this for a long time, is diets and programs are that. Habits and lifestyle change are, hey, let's just take some time here to observe what you are doing right now with no changes. That is step one. Look around, pay attention. Can you just be mindful of what is going on around you, what you are putting into your mouth, what your habits are? Once we reflect on that, let's find together the lowest hanging fruit. So if we start to look at everything that we're putting into our body and we're realizing, wow, there really aren't that many fruits and vegetables in my diet at all. Well, then let's use that as our singular focus for this week. How can we start with, okay, well, if we want to insert the habit of eating more fruits and vegetables, it starts with our grocery cart, right? So what's on our grocery list? Break that down. Okay, well, let's add X, Y, and Z and our plan to prepare those fruits or vegetables. And let's add those into our diet little by little. And that is your entire focus for one whole week, maybe longer if you struggle with it. And then once that feels consistent, once that feels automatic, okay, what's the next lowest hanging fruit? It looks like we're missing protein or hydration or our steps in our day. Let's increase one of those things, and we scaffold and we iterate and we go one at a time so that it truly feels natural and doable. I'd be willing to bet that no matter how busy you are, you would be able to do something along the lines of adding one additional serving of fruits or vegetables to your day in order to see some progress, right? And that's lifestyle change. That is habits. A diet and program is a prescriptive list, a restrictive list, and all these things that you need to do. Whereas lifestyle change is gradual. And then that might bring the question up of like, well, then that's so slow. I could do that on my own. Shouldn't I be doing more? If I'm going to sign up for a program, shouldn't I be doing more? Well, if you could, then wouldn't you have done that already? And that brings us back to, you have this belief that you can't stay committed because all the things we are expecting ourselves to do are all the way up here. And right now, our skill level and our ability to follow through on the promises that we make to ourselves is down here. So if there is this gap between where we'd like to be and where we are, we have to start here and build and build and build and build. And eventually you will look back and be like, wow, I am doing all these things, but I don't feel like it. I don't feel like I had to commit with all my might and all my willpower to make it happen. And that's the gradual nature of lifestyle change. You're getting to the same place. It might take a little bit longer, but you're not in this loop of starting and stopping and failing and failing and failing and failing and reinforcing this belief that you can't do it. And so truly what you're getting when you are investing in habit change and lifestyle change is the guidance to meet yourself where you're at and just commit to being 1% better every single day. And that is hard for us to do as high achieving women who expect so much of ourselves every single day out of everything that we do. And we will often feel like the approach that we take with this is not enough because we have done more in the past, or we feel like we should demand more of ourselves, or it doesn't look like what it should look like on Instagram of a picture perfect lifestyle. But we often let that hold us back from taking any action when the small actions are enough. And being 1% better every single day adds up very quickly. And so the biggest thing that I want you to take away from this is that your commitment just needs to be to meeting yourself where you're at, to being realistic, to not asking everything of yourself and leaving room for your life. Commitment to failing forward, understanding that even with the small little habits, you will make mistakes and you will fail. And that is a good thing because that's our learning area of opportunity. And just commitment to getting back up, back to the first definition that I actually really like. The state or quality of being dedicated to a cause or activity. And activity is interesting because activity is a process, is an action. It's not an outcome, right? We're not dedicated to perfection. We're not dedicated to, I must see the weight on the scale go down by this much. We're dedicated to the activity of going through the process and instilling these habits. So commitment just means something different than I think we often mean it to be on a surface level. And I hope that just kind of put a dent in your lack of self-belief if you have that. And just an example of a client who did take advantage of one of our partial scholarships, and I'm so glad that she did. I was really humbled by our conversation because we had a discovery call the week prior to the scholarship, and she was like, okay, it's a little tight. I don't know if I can make that work. And ultimately, a week went by after our conversation. She got awarded the partial scholarship after a kick-ass application. And after that conversation, she had taken massive action in watching all the trainings in the Facebook group. She had reorganized her office. She had cleared out her snack drawer. She had started taking some baby steps. And I think it was really just that conversation unraveling the fact that small changes mattered and that really those deeper motivations matter enough to make small changes worth it. And she did that. And she made a lot of small changes in just 1 week, proved to herself that she is committed, but just in a different way than she thought she needed to be. And that her small actions were enough. She lost 2 pounds that week and then signed up with a partial scholarship right after. So the next time you think that you're not committed enough, just remember to question, like, what are you expecting yourself to be committed to? And that's probably not actually what you need to be doing in order to see the best progress long term. Because I think at the end of the day, I know that we all want this perfect physique. We want this weight loss. We want to look a certain way. We want to feel a certain way. But behind that is really, we want to just have this not be a pattern of starting and stopping and failing over and over again. And we just want to live a healthy lifestyle. And so if that is you and you're not just in it for the quick fix and the roller coaster ride, then remember to take it slow and just remember to be committed to the small actions rather than the big diets, the big programs. And you're going to be so much more successful, I would argue, in the short and long term. So that is all. That's the training for today. I would love some feedback on this because I mean, these trainings and podcasts, it's really tough because I don't hear back. Like, it's one-sided. You're just listening, and I don't know if you're like, ugh, this is so pointless, or like, hey, this is really helpful. So when you send me a message and you say, hey, I listened to this, and this is what I took away from it, it really does mean a lot because it gives me feedback on what to talk more about. So send me some feedback, send me a message, or comment below on the thread here. And I hope you guys all have a great rest of your day, and I'll see you back here next week.